Hi, Jack Canfield here. Welcome back to another segment of Talking About Success. My next guest is I'm going to call her a retail mogul. She is someone who spent years in retail. Her name's Linda Johansson James. She's a retail executive, over 18 years of experience in running and launching new brands in common areas of shopping malls. We're going to talk about that. Really impressive what you've done. She's amassed over $1.7 billion in sales and helped over 52 million customers. And she believes in giving back and works with multiple charities. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you. So you talk about changing lives in business. That's your real passion. Talk about that.
Well, we've always looked for products that make a difference. I think Proactive was the number one product, and we had so many guests that would come up to us and call us and email us and say, you just don't really understand what you've done to change my life. A lot of these people had tried everything, and when they found us and, you know, on a cart in a shopping mall, they're like, oh, Proactive, I didn't know that you're in the mall. And they said, you know, we've just tried everything. And I had one guest in particular that I remember. It was a woman in Vancouver, Canada, and she had been to doctors, she had suffered from acne, never been on a date, and I was actually working in the mall on a Saturday morning, and she came up to me and she said, tell me about this. She goes, I've done everything. If this doesn't work, this is the way I'm going to look for the rest of my life. And she was really a beautiful young woman, but had severe acne, had never been on a date, never went to her prom.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, I'm not an overly emotional person, but this is very emotional. So talked to her about Proactive. She went home, and I happened to be in the mall 60 days later, and she came up to me and she said, look at me. She goes, look at my face. Now listen, not every story is like that, okay? But it cleared her skin. And a year later, she actually called me and she said, I just want you to know that I'm engaged now. And I went on a date, and she said, if it wasn't for me tripping over you in the middle of the mall, I would have never tried it. So it's stories like that, thousands of them. And it makes me feel really good that we've made a difference. So
Proactive was an amazing product that was out there forever. And you had how many of these kiosks, pop-ups, carts, call them what you will, in the malls did you have around the country?
So we had 1,500 at our height.
1,500?
In the U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
Wow. And so how many employees did you have?
We had 1,900 employees that worked directly for us. And we also had 900 automated retail machines that we launched in shopping malls, military bases, airports, store in store.
Wow. And you were running the whole operation?
Yeah, my husband and I feel very blessed. We were the only retail distribution. We had phenomenal business partners, and those gentlemen are still very dear friends of ours today.
Cool. So you've changed the lives of millions of people, 52 million customers. Talk a little bit about the lives of your employees, because I know you've had incredibly loyal employees. Like normal turnover would be way more than what you experienced.
Yeah, we had employees who actually worked for us for 17 years, working a cart in the middle of a shopping mall, and that's actually unheard of. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that they made a difference every day, and they loved the product, and they learned about it. But we were a really good company to work for. We believed in empowering our employees, and it was like their own little business. I mean, think about it. You're on a cart or a kiosk in the middle of a shopping mall, and it's not exactly, you don't like grow up and tell your parents, oh, Mom, when I get older, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to work at a cart in the middle of the mall. Your parents are like, what? No. But our people work for us because of the difference that they could make in those lives. And so a lot of those people are still very dear friends. We don't represent that brand anymore, but I feel very blessed to have done it. So do the employees. They've become very good friends of mine to this day, and they just loved it. And
that's so good.
Yeah, it makes you feel really good.
Now, you've introduced a lot of brands into the world through these kiosks in the mall and the carts in the mall. What advice do you have for someone who wants to introduce a new brand into the marketplace?
Test it. Test it, test it, test it. Proof of concept. And so there's a really low barrier of entry when you're on a cart or a kiosk in the middle of the shopping mall. So a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I have to spend millions of dollars to pop up or to open an inline store. And you really don't. I mean, the barrier of entry is very minimal, but you have the opportunity to test now. You know, pop-up is the big buzzword, right, Jack? You've heard that word probably. And we've been doing that for 18 years. So you pop up on a cart or a kiosk, and you can do it for a minimum of a weekend, a month, 60 days, 90 days. So it's really fun and great because you get that feedback from the guests. So when we were partners with Guthrie Ranker, they said, you're the only part of the business that actually touches the consumer. So you can actually get the reaction of the consumer directly. And great, if it works, you can scale like we did multiple brands. But if it doesn't, then at least you know that maybe you mass market the product, or maybe there's another way for you to launch that product. So it's a perfect way.
That's very cool. Very cool. Now, I have to say, we have a great mall here in Santa Barbara where I live, and I've bought a number of products that I didn't know about off of kiosks and carts.
Oh, we love to hear that, Jack.
No, I got into Rosetta Stone, the language thing. Oh. I bought facial products. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, we love that. Thank you. Continue to do that because this is really an incubation for entrepreneurs who really don't have any business acumen, who've developed a product, but they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So companies like mine, who we were the largest owner-operators in the world of carts and kiosks and automated retail stores in the world. And so this is a great way. So don't think that there's no way for you to get your brand out there, because there is.
Yeah. How important is sales training and all of that?
Oh, it's absolutely apparent. You know, I don't know about you, but I don't like people who chase me down the middle of the mall wanting to buff my nails or do any of that thing. But we had a very detailed training program. Our employees had to be certified. We actually called them acne certified. With Proactive, with other brands, we called it other things. But we spend a lot of time. We do a lot of online training. We develop online training videos. We're out in the field all the time. I believe that it starts from the top down, not the bottom up. And so you have to lead by example. So when I asked my employees to work Thanksgiving night, I was right there working with them. When I asked them to work all weekend, I was right there out selling with them.
I'm curious, because I don't like being chased down the mall either. With, here, try this perfume, whatever.
Right.
So just what, in terms of someone who is successful, I mean, what is a secret or two about how you engage someone who's walking by your cart?
Well, you don't accost them, and obviously we had a great training ground because you don't just walk up to somebody who has pimples and say, hey,
right.
You just don't do it that way. So in the common area, it's about brand recognition. So if you don't have that, it's about the merchandising of the RMU or the cart or the kiosk that you have. So that's really important. You only have 3 seconds to gain the attention of the consumer walking by, where they're actually going to stop and look and say, oh, I didn't know that they were in the mall. So it's professionalism, it's your merchandising, it's something to grab their attention in that 3 seconds. Then it's about that opening line, right? It's about that opening line. So with you, it'd be about, are you familiar with Proactive? Or tell me a little bit about your skin. So we operated in the common area because we chose to. People always said, well, how come you didn't go in an inline store? And I said, because we want to be out where everybody is. So the people in the common area, they're not cart operators, they're not kiosk operators. We're retailers who choose to operate in the common area. And then you train your salespeople to be professional salespeople who represent you and your brand professionally. So that it's very important, and constant training, which is what we did.
Now, I know you've been very successful. I know that giving back is important to you. Talk about giving back. Why is that so important to you?
Because to whom much is given, much is expected. And so when you're successful, we believe that you need to give back. And so I've been very involved for about 25 years with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I sit on their CEO advisory board. We were one of the first companies to participate in the Thanks and Giving program. As a matter of fact, the only common area retailer who participated in that. Now I'm really thankful to see that there's others. My husband and I have a foundation. We had a camp for children that were chronically, critically, and unfortunately sometimes terminally ill that we sent to camp with children who had the same disease and illness, and we instilled that in our employees. So if you don't have the money, then donate your time. And our employees were thrilled to be a part of a company that really deemed it important that you give back. And we ran contests where we sent them to camp, we brought them to St. Jude. And so some of these employees, like Rosa, who worked for us in Manhattan Mall, she had never been out of the Bronx. She was a very successful manager for 15 years. She got to go to St. Jude. She got to participate and see the impact of the money that she raised, which for us was just so important, because you can ask for money, but unless you see where it really goes. So we really believe that as an organization. My husband and I really believe that as individuals, and we try and instill that in the people that work with us.
That's good. I know at Chicken Soup for the Soul, we tithe 10% of all of our income to different charities related to the books.
Which I love, by the way, and I'm a huge fan, so I just have to say that.
Well, and I've been a big supporter of St. Jude's as well, so their ads are so well done. They capture you. You can't not.
They really are.
You can't not contribute. So today, retail is changing, as it always does.
It is.
So tell me about how you see it changing and how you address that.
Well, that's a really interesting question, and I ponder that a lot because my business has changed so much. The people in the common area, it's become more and more difficult for people to launch into retail. I sit on a lot of committees and councils in our industry because I want to make a difference. I want to be heard and have them say, listen, this is where I operate. This is my ground. So I think it's about choosing the right mall now, because as we know, when we started in this industry, there were 1,700 malls. Now, B&C malls have gone away, or they've metamorphosed into outdoor centers. And so it's looking at those malls, it's choosing the right malls, which is what our organization can help you to do. So you test your product in the right market for you. So we do a lot of demographics. And so I think you have to be very choosy. You have to make sure that your brand is the right brand to test. And you might not, maybe you don't want to sell it there. So maybe it's just about brand activation. Maybe it's about getting feedback. Maybe you're launching a new book. Maybe you want to see how the consumer really feels about it. You can't really get that sense online, but you can if you're in the common area shopping mall. Say, hey, take a look at this book, or look at this product. What do you think? So maybe you're collecting emails for your online website. So there's a lot of different ways now. And automated retail is a nice way too. We never thought that would work. We thought, ZitCream and an automated retail machine? Are you kidding? They need me. They need to talk to me. But if you have the right product and you have the right merchandising and the machine is in the right place, maybe that's a venue for you too. So you have to really look at what makes the most sense now for you.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
I love it.
Now, if someone's interested in contacting you and taking advantage of your services and your knowledge and your wisdom, how do they do that?
They can contact me at www.irg-retail.com. They can contact me directly on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I have them all. Love social media.
Very good. I guess you do.
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm actually thrilled to talk to you. I've been a fan of yours for many, many years, so thank you.
All right. Well, you heard it here. There's a lot of great wisdom about retail, getting a new product into the marketplace. And there's so many new products that people are developing right now. And if you're one of those people out there, entrepreneur, really encourage you, big company too if you're watching, encourage you to get in touch with Linda and to take advantage of her knowledge and 18 years of experience and 52 million customers and a lot of sales. 1.7 billion. All right. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back after this message.